is everybody? Do you have a body that is something? So I see a few new faces. So I don't know, because yesterday we really went into quite deep kind of what emptiness is not, because that's very important, because otherwise you fall into nihilism, and that's not what we want. So maybe for those who were here yesterday, we can kind of check whatever you remember. I'm asking you questions, and then you try to give me the answer. And don't worry, I mean, it's not a test. Just try, because actually saying something wrong is the best way of learning. Because then also we feel the eye, you know, but maybe everybody bursts out laughing, you think what you are saying is really good and really true and whatever. But we also know that there's nothing that is really true from its own side. We learned yesterday, so then everything is just relatively true. Okay, so what is emptiness is not? What is it not?
Inherent being.
Okay, an inherent being. It's not an inherently existing being. What else is it not? Meaning, like, emptiness is not real existence, yeah? Because when you say inherent being, does everybody understand the word inherent? Okay, inherent means existing from its own side, not needing any causes and conditions, not needing other things for us to for things or us to exist. That means inherent. Real, true existence. The moment it is conceptual, the moment it's conventional, it exists, but they don't call it real, true existence. A real, true existence would be whatever exists in a very true and real way. It is only itself. It cannot be anything else. Then it's true, because truth is only one. Okay? That means a bread, if the bread would be existing truly, really from its own side, it would never have been flour, salt, water, yeast, or sourdough. But it was at one point flour, salt, water, yeast. Then through causes and conditions, when these things come together, then it makes dough, which is still no bread. And then that dough, by other causes and conditions, can turn into bread. That's why the bread is not inherently existent, because otherwise it would always be bread. And then when you eat the bread, then again it transforms into what? Huh? Into caca. Do you ever recognize the bread in your caca? Maybe if you have diarrhea, then maybe yes, but otherwise, yeah. But do you know, if you make your bread yourself, do you ever, when you look at your caca, go, oh, here goes my bread? It seems that it becomes something totally different, isn't it? Bread and caca, totally different. But actually, what is it? Is it totally different? No. Does it appear as totally different? Yes. Is that appearance right?
Yeah.
No. No. That appearance is based on a wrong concept, that it's something totally different, really truly different from bread. If the caca is really truly different from the bread, then it would always have had to be caca. It wouldn't need the bread as a cause to become caca. Without bread, no caca. So the caca is depending on the bread. Yeah, I mean, it's just one example. It can be many other things. I don't know why. It's the first time I used this. You know, most of the time it's the first time I use things, so maybe because I'm kind of a curious person, I get fed up and I get bored with always the same examples. So do you see what I mean? It appears totally different. When you see the flour, it appears totally different from the bread. When you see the water, You don't see the bread in the water. When you see salt, you don't see the bread in salt. Okay? But it appears different, but it's dependent on each other. Okay? That means, like emptiness means not real, true, inherent existence. Certain things have to come together in order for it to come into existence. They need no, I don't want to give you the answer. What is emptiness also not? What? Giddy?
It's not nothing existing.
Exactly. This is so important for you to know. Even more important than that it's not inherently existent is for you to know it doesn't mean non-existence. So don't fall into, emptiness. Well, everything is empty, so what's the point? And, you do exist. When we hear selflessness, then people think there is absolutely no self. There is a self, but there is a self that is depending on its basis, which are what?
Everything.
Oh yeah? Like the apple outside? No. What is the self depending on? Huh?
Connection.
The body and the mind. That's what it depends on. This is how a self comes into existence. Okay? Does it appear like that? No. Okay. We do the same thing as we did yesterday. I read you, because for the people who are not here, I read you Einstein's quote. And then we try out how does it appear and how can it exist like that. And then we go into objects. The objects of appearance. I hope I have it with me. Yeah. I don't know, it's a bit dark somehow. I don't know where the lights are to be. There? Maybe Itzig. Let Itzig kind of... Because there's this... Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Good, now it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. So a human being, which is us, is part of the whole called by us the universe. A part limited in space and time. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings, as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our own personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening the circle of compassion to embrace all of living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. My quote ends here, but I also have a quote in German which continues, and it says, to do this, to accomplish this task, might not be possible, but just trying to do it will give you mental stability. And it comes from a friend of his, I think a rabbi. He lost his daughter. Daughter died of a rabbi, and he was asking Einstein, is very, of course, he was very sad and very disturbed, and this is the answer from Einstein that he got in order to console him. Do you think that might help? We'll see. We'll see what happens when we try to imagine or visualize that we're part of the universe. So you just sit in, if you can, sit with the straight back, and sit with the straight back. Also the ones on the chairs, try not to. The main thing when we do reflections or meditations, it is true. The first step is to find a posture that is comfortable. And then it feels like maybe that's comfortable, or maybe lying down is comfortable. That's how it feels. But after a very short time, leaning against the wall, or kind of being bent over, or whatever, it becomes very uncomfortable. Whereas if your body is still okay, and you can learn to sit with the straight back, that will really help you for the mind to calm down. Because body and mind is very connected, yeah? And we have energy channels or meridians. Do you know that? Do you really know that? Have you seen them? Have you touched them? Have you smelled them? Have you felt them? Can you feel a meridian? Directly? No. Through inference. By drawing conclusions. Okay? So, how many of us do know directly that there is meridians? Okay, one person. But before, everybody said yes. Okay? Everybody said yes. So what do we? Do we know that there is meridians? Or channels? Or do we believe that there is channels and meridians?
Oh, we have experienced it.
Yeah, but is that knowing? So when we talk about knowing, we talk about direct knowing. Okay? So emptiness also, all of us, we understand emptiness through inference very quickly. But it doesn't change the belief, the holding, the grasping on to a real, true, existent I. It's just the first step. It's just the first step, okay? And for many, many things we think we know. But we don't. We heard it from somebody else. That person is trustworthy. We believe it. We stick some needles in our body. All of a sudden it starts getting better. We say, ah yeah, there's meridians. It could be something totally different. How many people believed that the earth is flat? Everybody at one time. People who came and said the earth is round got burned on the stake for being heretics. How many people believed that the earth is the center of the universe and the other planets are turning around it? You said something different, you would be burned. How many of you believe that the earth is flat? How many of us know that the earth is round? Do we really know? No. Scientists came up with this thing, you know, that now the earth is round, so now it becomes round. So that's okay. Conventionally, it's okay. It's a convention. Everybody agrees that the earth is round. Until somebody else comes along and proves that the earth is not round. You know, also this thing about spinach, like for years people thought spinach is really, it's the best source for iron and you really need it. All of a sudden some scientists say no. So then, yeah, so that's what I mean. It doesn't mean that things are not conventionally true. But whatever is manipulable, whatever can change, is not itself, is not truly true. It is only true by when certain causes are being met. Yeah? There is no such thing that has a function that is really, truly true. Because even with these meridians, you know, for some people it works to stick the needles, for other people it doesn't work at all. If they would be truly, really there and doing the function of making the liver or whatever working again in a good space, in a good way, when you stick the needle in the right place, it will work for everybody. That is what means truly, really existing. But conventionally, yes, of course there are meridians. Conventionally, yes, of course acupuncture works. Yeah? Conventionally means it's manipulable, means not always, means not truly, not really. Yeah, so please don't feel attacked if you are acupuncturist. It's okay. Yeah, it does work. It depends on many, many other causes that it works. The condition of your body, maybe I don't know. I'm not going to acupuncturist, but like Tibetan medicine. You know, it depends on your relationship with the doctor, for example, for it to work. It depends on how your body is. So somebody with the same sickness can get different medicines. it depends on the state of your mind. So it depends on many things for this to work. And I think maybe even with Western medicine also, if you really hate your doctor and he gives you that really disgusting medicine, I'm not sure if it will work just as well as if you really adore the doctor and he's so clever and he's so great and he's so wonderful, or she. Yeah? That is what it means. Like truly existing from its own side, inherently existing means it doesn't need any other causes for the thing to work or for the thing to exist. So this is why definition of what it means, what existence means, yeah, then it's very important. But also that, even though now we gave the existence, also existence cannot stand by its own. What is the existence dependent on? In order to know existence, what do we need? Huh? You know, I don't hear so well, so you need to speak really loud, and also then I turn my head here or there because I only hear in one ear. I don't know where the sound's coming from. What does it depend upon?
Object and subject, isn't it?
Non-existence. If there's non-existence, if there's no non-existence, you don't have existence. This is, you know, we think existence can stand on its own. This is like saying short can stand on its own. Short cannot stand on its own. This we understand because we can see it. How can short be short? Because there is long. So short depends on long. Existence, it depends on non-existence. Yeah, so this is how we kind of play around with these things, which sometimes, you know, it's obvious, it's logic, but when we hear it for the first time, we go like, what? What do you mean existence cannot stand by its own? Yeah. In order to know existence, we need to have non-existence. In order to know true, we need to have false. Yeah, not even the truth can stand by its own. And this you have to work your mind, I can see your faces, you have to work your mind a little bit around that. Because our mind, our mistaken mind, our mind who has a mistaken views, makes things inherently, autonomously standing by its own, without seeing the causes and conditions that go with it. When we don't see the causes and conditions, we can start to think about the causes and conditions, but we don't see them directly. If I see a pen, I do not see directly the causes and conditions that are inside this pen. I don't see it. Yeah? I can infer, I can think about it, and then, you know, through my imagination it appears, but I don't see it directly. And this is why also the whole thing about mindfulness meditation, all this, is to know directly. Yeah? That's the purpose of meditation, is to know. To know what? To know how things exist. And not to believe in appearances anymore. Because what appears to us is not one with what is. This pen appears to you like a pen that stands under its own control, meaning inherently. That's how it appears. Yeah? But when we look at its existence, it can't stand like this. What does it need to be a pen? What does the pen need in order to be a pen?
Ink.
Huh?
Ink, plastic.
Well, the mind comes, yeah, but first what does it need?
Parts.
Parts. It's parts. Then these parts need to be together, because if I take the parts apart and I ask you, is this a pen? What would you say?
No.
You would say no. Rightly so, because it's not a pen. So where is the pen? Does it jump in somewhere? Is it waiting here and say, oh, I'm waiting for her to put these parts together, so that when she puts them together, then it becomes a pen? Does it appear as if the pen who was not findable before all of a sudden jumps in somewhere in order, sometimes I can't put it back together, in order for this to be a pen. Does it appear as if, because now it's a pen. When did the pen come in? From where? Where was it waiting somewhere to come in? Now there seems to be a penness spread over all the parts. That's another appearance. The penness in all the parts. But if the penness is in all the parts, we need to find the penness in all the parts when the parts are apart. What else does it need? It came from the back there. What else does it need in order to be a pen?
Our senses to see.
A label. A mind who
Name.
gives the name. Otherwise it's not a pen. But these parts become the basis for us to put the label pen. Okay? So there is existence because there is a pen. But what this pen is empty of, when we come with emptiness, what it is empty of, a really, truly existing pen that doesn't need anything else in order to be pen. That is what is lacking. What is lacking inside this pen is a real pen that is findable. So the Buddhists usually they start with the self first and they say it's easier to understand. I don't think so. I really think that with an object is much easier to understand because the I that then now we're taking apart or we're looking at, this bloody I is feelable. And we grasp at it and we hold on to it. And since beginningless times, we have had this I, me, that we're trying to protect, we pamper. We don't see how the I appears in a certain way, but we don't see how it exists. Yeah? But again, don't fall into the wrong view that because this pen is empty of inherent existence, doesn't exist really, truly from its own side, please don't fall into the thing, okay, then it doesn't exist. It exists as a, for those who were here yesterday, we have a word for this, or two words. It exists as a dependent arising. So these two words, dependent arising, gets rid of the two wrong views. Dependent gets rid of the wrong view that it exists independently, because it depends. It depends on its part, and the label, and the mind who gives it the label. That's why it is dependent. But it appears as independent. Yeah? Can you see that this pen appears as independent, not depending on its parts? It's a pen. What are you talking about parts? Yeah. The parts are the pen. This is how we go. But the parts are not the pen. The parts are the part of the pen. They're the parts of the pen. They're not the pen. Whatever they make, it doesn't matter. They are not the pen. Wherever you point to with this, when I say, now the pen is together. Again, it's the real pen. I'll ask you, where's the pen? You go, here. Is this the pen? No, it's the case of the pen. Yeah? Then I go to the mind inside. Is this the pen? No, it's the mind of the pen. Then I go to the little head here. Is this the pen? No. Wherever you point, and you can point to the smallest atom, you will not find anything that you can say, this is the pen. Nothing. But it appears like this. It appears when I say, where's the pen? And you're here. You know? And conventionally, I am right that the pen is here. But our mind then grasps at this pen as a real pen. You know, we don't have to then in daily life go, where is the dependently arisen pen? It's only when you start to be attached to this thing, then you start to go, there is no real pen, it's only dependently arisen. You see, because we project inherent and real existence, then we see inherent good or bad, because I tell you what, this pen, which I have since years, for me is the best pen ever. So if it disappears, because inherently for me this is the best pen ever, even though I do know where I can buy a new one, probably not here in Israel, but definitely in Switzerland. It's a Swiss product. It's called Carandache. And they're really good because they don't make a mess. Yeah, when you write with them, they don't have where, sometimes pens make this point and then you know where, so they don't, just in case. But they're quite, you know, they cost something like 12 euro or something. So again, you know, if it disappears, 12 euro is not the end of the world, it's 12 euro. I drink cheap coffees in Switzerland, 12 euros is not even enough. Yeah. So, and I have these 12 euros. Still, if it disappears, because for me this pen has become permanent. It's mine, it's here, it should always be here. The moment it disappears, because I project permanence, and also an I that is permanent, darkest disaster. And then thanks to my 30 years of training, the disaster lasts only half a minute maybe. But still, I will go at least 5 times through all my things. Even if I haven't found it for the first time, I will still empty my bag 3 more times. You know, but the more I tell you this example, the less I do it. Yeah. But still, the instinct of doing it must be somewhere, is still there. So that's what I mean. So when we talk about emptiness and then you look for the thing, it is like not finding something where we were convinced that something is there. And this pen has never been in its parts, will never be in its parts. Yeah? And also it's not the emptiness who makes the pen empty. The pen is empty, but not being empty of dependently arisen pen. The pen is lacking a truly real, totally existing from its own side, autonomous pen. That's what is lacking. Do you understand? Doesn't matter. I tell you, the best is if you don't understand. Because the moment we think we understand, we're blocked. But we might not be understanding the right thing. It is so simple, this whole thing, and we're so complicated that we don't really understand what this is all about, because our projection is so strong that this is a real pen. But I can touch it, I can feel it, I can see it, and all. It's so strong. So if you're interested in this, and you should be interested how things exist, if you want to be happy, you need to understand how reality is. This is why we're not happy all the time, because we grasp on to things as really truly existent, which they're not. So if you're interested in this, and I think the mind automatically is interested in this, then you keep searching, you keep listening to science, you keep listening to Buddhism, you keep listening to probably Taoism, I would say also, which is also coming from somewhere there. You keep listening to philosophers like Wittgenstein and these kind of people, or reading. Yeah. And then in order not to fall into a hole of, oops, okay, then nothing exists, everything is just in my mind, then you need to read Viktor Frankl. Give meaning to your life. Develop compassion and love for others. Because if you only study emptiness, you become very dry. Your warmth in your heart is gone. So do both. This is why one combines compassion and wisdom in Mayan Buddhism. It goes together. If it's only compassion, it becomes idiot compassion, because you don't know the causes for the suffering. And then you despair. Yeah? Then you despair. And then Maybe you try to help somewhere where you can't help, but you still want to help. Because you haven't understood about karma, law of cause and effect. And